Bernie Flexen here for Seconds Out with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, we're here at the Nottingham press conference, a big show on Friday night. Originally it was announced that Jordan Gill would be the main event. It seems to have evolved organically.
I don't know is the answer. I think from a Sky perspective, they feel that Jordan Gill should be the main event. No disrespect to Lee Wood, he hasn't done enough in his career yet with Jordan coming on at a fast pace. I don't think they felt that Lee Wood was probably a strong enough name to headline a card. But obviously we're in Nottingham and we are here because of Lee Wood. And he has sold a huge amount of tickets. So I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. It's always been the plan that Jordan will main event, but he wants to give it to Lee. So we'll speak to Sky and see what they want to do.
It's lucky they don't live together to argue about it, really.
Yeah, I know.
We're talking about Nottingham, obviously the guy synonymous with Nottingham, the guy you spent a flight home with, a long flight home from what you said in the press conference, is Carl Froch. You kind of half tongue-in-cheek talked about him saying about a comeback. Yeah. Is there any kind of truth to that? Is there any chance he comes back?
I think Carl is a great wind-up merchant. You know, if he's not tweeting about someone's retirement, he's talking about a comeback and
some fight he had at some northwest London venue.
Exactly. He definitely is curious about fighting again. He's got a tour coming up with George Groves, which actually would be a really good watch. And they were head-to-head at the O2 event. And for me, it's not, it's a fight that, you get two old guys that are just retired. And these guys aren't really like that. I mean, I know Froch has been out for a long time, but he's been training most days since he retired. He never got beat up. He never was on the big decline when he retired. And George only boxed last September. Was that? Last September. Yeah. So he could quite easily box again. I think George would have more problems making the weight now than Carl would. I don't think it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me at the same time. See what happens on this tour. But Carl's always has these spells of, what do you think? Like he turned down the Chavez fight when he retired, and I think he should have taken that fight. We talked on the flight about the Golovkin fight, not now, but when he retired. And for me, that is a fight that could have gone down in history as just one of the best, most brutal fights you would ever seen. So I miss Carl as a fighter, You
miss him on that plane journey, did you?
No, but I wish he was around now fighting. So does he, with all the money going around. But no, I think no.
And I know you've been asked about this already. Your father made a few comments that weren't received well in all quarters at the Wyatt Rivas press conference. Do you think the criticism has been a little unfair or even misplaced? I think for us, it was certainly more like the Deontay Wilder tweet recently about Ramadan, in that it was a bit of a gaffe, a bit of an error, but not meant with any malice.
Well, it's had many responses, some of support and some of... Depends how you look at things, depends how you look at us, depends if you've got an agenda. What he said was really straightforward. Fighters used to have no control in their career. They were under slave contracts. Now they have control, and which is great. It was a positive comment about the state of boxing and the way that fighters have evolved within the business decision-making process of boxing. Probably weren't the best terminology to use, but it had nothing to do with the colour of anyone's skin. He didn't think of it like that. Which obviously shows his naivety, but also his mindset that, even now he's like, I can't understand. What do you not understand? Fighters, that's the contracts that fighters used to be in. Floyd Mayweather said it about HBO, So, again, it's fish and chip paper tomorrow. He probably should have used a better terminology, but it was, completely, like I said, probably a little bit naive from a guy who's completely not naive. But, like I said, it was his last press conference, and it was definitely his last press conference. I said, that's enough for you. But he was a bit upset, really, because it's not everyone who knows him knows exactly what he meant. And even Dillian Whyte. If you said something about Dillian Whyte that he didn't like or was offensive, he wouldn't be laughing, mate. He'd be telling you to your face. He'd even do it in the middle of the press conference. So even he can't really understand the fuss. But again, there's certain people with agendas that have used it to say, "Oh, wow, you know." I mean,
How much of that criticism do you think does derive from people with agendas?
90%. I don't think he should have said it. I knew exactly what he meant. I think you do as well.
But this is what I'm saying. We kind of typified it when we put it up online as it's a gaff. It's a bit of an Alan Partridge moment. It's not, you know, he's not a racist or anything, you know.
But again, 95% of people that have come out, and one in particular, was probably told to do it and came out for a reason they don't like us.
Can't imagine who you might be talking about, Eddie.
But he won the heavyweight world championship once. But I
Double L.
Yeah, I expect that. No, he shouldn't have said that, right? He didn't mean anything by it. It was it was just his way of explaining how the business of boxing has changed. But it opened the doors to people with an agenda to try and put it, you know, as something it wasn't. So